my mama love. You should be ashamed. You should be ashamed. You should be ashamed.
Welcome, Jackson, Mississippi, to Make It Make Sense. I am your host, Keanu Perry, along with my co-host,
Tariq Abdul Tawab. I'm sorry, I'm still getting used to the young man leading us in like this. It gives me time to get ready.
We'll get used to it, man. I'm still trying to get used to it, too.
Yes, sir.
It's always something new that needs to be done in the city. So
That's right. That's right.
But, you know, welcome to the fourth day.
Fourth
day of our 5-day show.
That's right. We're on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, 90.1 WMPR, the infamous, and then Thursdays and Fridays here on the prestigious We Believe Digital. We keep repeating that because we don't want you to think if you missed us on Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays that you can't jump back on at 5:30 and catch us on We Believe Digital on Thursdays and Fridays.
The longevity is there, so I don't want to hear, we didn't catch this show. There's so many. We probably got at least almost 100 shows out there, if not more. So
absolutely more.
Definitely more. This is what, like a year worth of shows?
This is a year's worth of show. And as a matter of fact, we just passed our 1 year anniversary. We don't have many applause machines, but we just celebrated our 1 year anniversary last month. Actually, it was March technically we came on air. So we've been on air for going on a month. But you got to understand that the young man and I, you had two people that came online. I came on initially, and then I brought the young man on and said, you can do this at the same level. I came on initially during the elections, during the mayoral elections, with Akil Bakari, who this is a continuation. If you remember, he and others had a very successful show. Similarly, we're building off of that, right? 15 years ago, right? So I came in there in that way, but it's a new day, right? And so we had new challenges in front of us. Challenges that the young man, myself, and plenty of others in our community were already working on. So when we came to the show, to speak truth, but we didn't want to be politicians. We wanted to talk to you as plain as we can talk to you, right? That was the whole thing. Hey, this city's got heartburn. We're feeling a lot of heartburn. There's a lot of bad stuff happening to us, and we need to figure out what are we putting in, digesting as a city where stuff we can't get right. And then I'm hearing stories before us, even before you were born, of people talking about how we couldn't get right then. This has been going on. And so instead of worrying about what we could get or what the solution was, first, we followed any other medical path. You find out the cause.
What's really going on?
And then you provide a solution.
And who's lying to you?
That's right. Forget the placebo effect. Let me give you a pill until you take that pill.
Yeah.
Tell me what I'm eating. Is it pizza? I have acid reflux. So let me tell you something. You can think you're doing fine. Go ahead and eat you some vinegar. Go ahead and eat some tomato, right? So if you're eating sun-dried tomatoes and you think you're doing well because you're not eating cheese pizza, you're not eating Burger King, and you're like, well, why is my chest still burning? What did you eat today? Oh, I ate some oatmeal and some tomatoes. That's it. Some fresh tomatoes from the garden. Well, with acid reflux, tomatoes can be your worst enemy.
Yep.
You got to know what you're putting in. So what did we start doing? We started with the North Side Sun during the mayoral elections a year ago. Why do they want us to vote for John Horn and Tim Henderson? Then Tim Henderson at a certain point said, well, I'm not, whatever you want from me, I can't provide. And he backed out. Well, why do they want us to vote for John Horn? What about Jackson is so important that you all have said you hated it so much? You drove it down so much that only 18% of you voted. So you agree with me. That's the beautiful thing.
Yeah, from the white flight to now.
From the white flight to now. And the beautiful thing, we don't have to ask Jacksonians. 18% of us voted. The young man and I voted. Yeah. So 18% of us voted. So we don't have to ask you anything. We know that the city is disillusioned and people are tired. This is what the state wanted. You drive the value down, drive the cost down, and buy low and sell high. So we walked from there, and that's why our audience that's with us is so locked in. We walked from there all the way to where we are now. I'm not even going to recap that because we saw a lot through that that landed us today in a federal court with Judge Wingate.
From the 2022 lawsuit filed against the water system previously the water system was ours.
That's right.
And then they said that we couldn't take care of it properly, so
That's
they
right.
had to find a third party, private partnership of it. Third time party manager Ted Henderson. Am I right?
Yes. And don't forget, when they said we couldn't take care of it, really quickly, most of you all know this, they did everything they possibly could to run down our ability to take care of it from mayor after mayor after mayor.
I mean,
right?
We didn't have enough control over anything. I mean, it was already, the infrastructure was already messed up, and somehow it became our fault. But
right.
I mean, if it's like you ran that, it's like you get somebody a car and you run it down to no tires, no rim, no nothing. And then the tire shop, they price go up on the wheels, and then the other cars, they outdated. You know what I'm saying? That car's still 2002, and you know what I'm saying? Now you got to fix this car. Wait, what happened to all that other stuff? What's going on?
Yeah,
you know?
They give us old equipment,
old equipment.
You're starting to see it, man. Then for example, let me give you another example of the way that this has worked over the last few years, because a lot of people, that's the wrong way to put it. You got maybe 30 people in your family. You know which cousins steal.
Yeah.
And this is any race, you know which cousins steal, you know which cousins lie, you know which cousin's going to take your place, is going to tell your mother they didn't get a piece. Well, in our city, in our black community, you got a lot of people working. So we never stopped and talked about, how people are like, well, why doesn't the mayor do this? And this is respectful. You're talking about Mayor Horn. People put, Mayor Horn needs to do this. The city council needs to do this. I agree with everything we tell them they need to do.
Yeah.
But what's funny is we put all this pressure on the mayor and the city council, but we don't talk about the people that worked at City Hall. You know how many trifling people, how many trifling of your peers, trifling people have messed your city up? So let me ask you a question. Have you ever asked, for example, why do they let people at the city do what they do and not fire them?
Just sabotage.
You should understand what the people in HR departments are doing when the mayor and other people try to get people fired. I was deputy director. There were managers that would come to me and would be like, a person told him to suck his expletive one day. I said, he's gone. And I know I've got I'm shocked. You know me, I'm a manager. I said, say what? Go in and pull the paperwork up. No 30, 60, 90 here.
Like, he told him to do it.
He's driving out the parking lot when he said it. I said, you don't even need to worry about it. Just go ahead and pull the paperwork. So I pull the paperwork, I write up exquisitely. Here you go. That could stay. That's full proof. I don't care if this is in that will state, and I'm that good. Handed it to him. He looked at me and said, man, nothing's going to happen. I said, well, what do you? He violated every code of conduct rule. It's right. And I pulled the code of conduct from the city of Jackson.
Yeah.
Well, HR says the mayor doesn't like him, so they're not going to do anything. This is real. I promise. This is not this administration. I was not divided. I was under both for a period of time. What people don't know, briefly under the Horn administration, for maybe a day or 4 hours. But yeah, and I'm looking at them in disbelief because I'm a regular person, and I'm like, what? I talked to department managers who basically said to me they have refused to do the work that the city needed because they had their own consulting firm and they weren't being paid on the side. Why are they getting paid $70,000, $80,000 a year to do the job in the city? $70,000 a year to do the job, and they have a consulting business on the side. So
they were getting paid to do their job, but they weren't doing it.
No, they weren't doing it. And the reason they said it is because the city, and they're right about this, the city has made such horrible deals over the last 30 years because folks have just tricked so many people and people have been making bad deals that these white companies, like, for example, I think it was Johnson & Johnson that was handling our elevators, right? You look at the contracts, it's written up, so literally everything that they do is overtime. You done paid them all this money, but then you look at the details. Well, I look at the details and I can read this stuff and I'm like, everything's overtime on here.
Yeah.
So that's like, KP, I'm going to set up a contract with you to clean this studio where everybody can see, right? We're going to sign a contract. I'm going to clean the studio every day for you. You sign it. Then you read the small print and it says, if I have to move this microphone to clean, which I have to because I have to clean, then that's overtime. It says if this TV is more than, it comes up to my chest, that's overtime. I look in the details and it says if you have purple in your backdrop, that's overtime. It says if KP has on a gray sweater when we're signing this, that's overtime. That's what the details say, something crazy. Basically, everything, they'll sign a deal that's for the bare minimum. So they'll say, give me $500,000 a year and I'm going to maintain your elevators. But then you ask, well, what comes with that maintenance? Oh, us just driving to the door. That's all that gets you. Us coming up to your door. You have to pay us more for everything else we do.
So they were getting paid to do nothing.
Thank you. That's how those contracts are written up from the layman's terms, right? They're getting paid to do nothing, not even the bare minimum. So you have elevators not working. That's why I thought you wasn't opening. So you may have people that come out the city and be like, oh, I hope I can get a job with the next mayor. That's not me. That's why I thought you wasn't opening. You had these elevators issues, right? Escalators, excuse me, going up and down, right? And you had people just sabotaging it left and right. So it wouldn't open under Lumumba. We don't want it to open. This is what was that. So when you're sitting in your neighborhood and you think I'm not getting services because why is every building dirty? Why are the police precincts dirty? Why is Shepherds? Why are the community centers dirty? And you thought your mayor just didn't know how to mayor, right? And little do you know, you literally have folks taking supply. You literally have folks sitting there with 40 people under them and ain't none of them people working every day. 30 people sitting there and none of them going to work. And when folks try to punish them, HR at that time, I don't know if they've changed yet. I think the mayor doesn't like them. My God, how do you run a business that way? And then you have people that's like, well, I understand why mayor. I'm gonna tell it. I understand why the mayors were just saying no, 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 no. I'm talking about Lumumba. No, 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 no to everything. But what you gonna say yes to? You can't deliver. Oh yes, my public works department will make sure that looks nice. You can't say that as a mayor if your whole public works department is gonna be like, yeah, I don't like that dude, man. I ain't doing nothing. But that nothing's for the city. That's you suffering. You can't make this stuff up. That's you suffering. Yeah, I mean, that's your parks. That's your byways.
You mad because you was getting paid for doing nothing, and he found they were getting paid for doing nothing, and you found out that you were getting paid for doing nothing.
You found out somebody else was getting more money to do something.
Yeah.
And you decided that. But first off, let's just be real. If you want to be a contractor, be a contractor.
Right.
You could have at any point left the city and then put your bid up against someone else's bid. That's not what they do. They'll take that 70. While you over there in South and West Jackson thinking 70 is a whole lot of money. They treat it, and it's usually people that come from money too. Y'all know that. I love talking about what y'all know. The people that get these positions, because it's where who you know. So the people that get the 70,000 position and are spitting on it, they've had money before. Parents own a whole side of a street. They got all types of companies. Money's nothing to them. And they sitting up there getting paid 70 doing nothing. You go in there and give one of them people that have never had that 70,000 a year. Now I can take care of my family. Now I can take care of everybody. They'll really do their job. Look at our departments in the city. No one in the city ever stopped to say, but they're still getting paid money. How can you pay people and nothing gets done? I'll tell you how, because people are driving and then drive out. And so many people worried about hating that mayor, they made sure your city looked like trash, garbage. I watched people say it to my face. They would say it to me, well, until he gives us some contracts, his city gonna keep looking like this. And I'm looking at them like, you do. You realize your family live in that city too, right? But that's the hearts of men. That's the hearts of men. This is what they did with Lumumba. I don't know it before. And it didn't matter to me. I'm in there as a deputy director trying to do my job. And let me tell you something, I'm a consummate professional. So when something comes under me, a department comes under me, same thing at Jackson Water. I don't know why. This is an at-will state. That first time I've ever been fired from a job. And that's a beautiful thing. Two things that are very important on my resume. I've never had an interview and not gotten a job. That's a blessing of God and my parents, right? And I've never been fired from a job. Now, I've not returned to jobs when I was younger. Popeyes, I worked for 4 hours when I was 19. I couldn't take it. They put me at the front. I knew too many people right there. I wasn't smart. But I've never been fired from a job. And first time for everything, so I have now. But let me just say, I was at the Metro, and there I was the chief executive experience officer with Jackson Water. And at the Metro, we had some of the worst, a lot of you all know, the heat wasn't working. The morale was lower than low. And that's my specialty is morale, is office morale, office culture, improving it. I've done it for companies, Prometric. I've worked at Verizon. I've done it for the top companies and done it at the top level. Nobody could come in there and touch me in that field, right? Here, you all can. The young man can, but none of them can touch me, right? So now the culture is low, dead low at the Metro. Why? Craters in the parking lot. $9 an hour, people are getting told. At that time, I was told I'd be able to close that gap for everybody that was at $9 an hour. The expectation was, bless you, that I'd be able to close their gap as their leader to bring everybody up to $15 an hour. That was my understanding. I think so I started to attack the culture. You see, I'm talking about this. If you were at the Metro, call in, Hamburger. Call in and say I'm lying, right? Yeah, that's fine. I'll accept that. If you say it, I know I'm not lying. So what I started to do was just move through and embrace people, talk to people, celebrate birthdays, try to bring in chillers to cool it down a little bit, explain to people that as long as we have to be here, if we can hold on to this system, I was talking this talk from the beginning. Go ask somebody that was in Metro. If we can hold on to this system, right? You were calling into the water, to the WSBA saying the people are rude. I'm sitting down on the phone, putting my headset on. I'm hearing my people say, hello, what do you need? Thank you for calling. No. This is how we're going to do it. Thank you for calling Jackson Water. This is such and such. My name is Tark. I'll take the call for you. Some of you talk to me. How can I help you? My dang builder. And you were right. And I taught them, okay, the first thing you have to do is understand them. Stop, don't yell at, understand it. Well, I can certainly understand that. Write down everything they're saying. Take a look at what their problems are and compare what those answers are. We were doing wonderful with the old computers we had. Everything at Metro as is. I bought our service level up to 87%. Play games if you want. I don't go around talking. That's for you all to do. Do what you want with it. When I was at Jackson Water, I left with my service levels at 82%, and I screenshot everything when I do it. SLA, that's a service level agreement. That's what you hear when you hear people talking about why you moved the center, because we couldn't answer the call. The hell, you're not talking about when I was there. See, I'm sick of telling people stuff and you're not running with it.
So
when I was at Jackson Water, I left with a service level. I reached 82%, and I come from Verizon call center, so I know what a service level is. A service level agreement is when I say to the city, I'll answer 80%, 8 out of 10 of your calls within 2 minutes.
You met your quota.
I blew that quote out the water. And right when I blew that quote out the water is when I started receiving communications that, the feelings like I was moving too fast. And I come from sales. I come from Verizon. No such thing as moving too fast in sales. So I didn't understand. I wasn't able to read the framework, people. Got one over them. You got me? Yeah, I wasn't able to read the framework. Moving too fast, that's a pat on the back. Now I'm in Mississippi where folks try to slow you down so that they can watch it and get what they need. But that's what you got to understand. So I'm in every aspect of this city. When you hear me talk, I'm sitting inside. I'm sitting in collections, watching people and call the state and whisper. I'm talking about folks that from amongst us. You'll be amazed how pettiness can make you call a white person within the state of Mississippi and telling a black mayor about something that has nothing to do with right or wrong. You just letting them know a weakness so they can come in and hurt the city. You'll be surprised at how many black people are calling white folks in Madison and telling what black people here are doing to help their own city. Well, the mayor's trying to make sure black people are getting contracts. That's your own people doing it. And what's the sad part about you cowards is they're doing it. And you don't even tell nothing on them. They're doing it. They're making up stuff on people in the last administration so that they can stop him and you just figure, well, this is the way they do it. Okay. This is the way they do it. This is how a city gets like this. This doesn't come from bad leadership. And you got foolish, ignorant black people running around repeating it. And I forgot who you were. You're lucky because you said it and I was on the radio and I heard you and I said I was going to lock your name in and remember it. But you got black people actually talking like the Vernon Hartley talk. Yes, sir. We're not going nowhere, Vernon. You built this bonfire. Now let's go ahead and burn it. But rather you didn't. But Vernon Hartley said that we need to show the state of Mississippi that we know how to act. I feel like you're the one that called them Water Authority people. Today we had a court date.
They say it. They mention it.
Yeah. Didn't mention. Did you hear that from your council person? That's first thing. When we say a phrase, if you like it, I love it. Today, Judge Wingate called the city council in for him to rule. He didn't end up ruling to hear arguments for the city council. Last minute Hail Mary, that's what you've been worth so far. We're going to make him do better, but that's what you've been worth so far. They'll Hail Mary in a last hour attempt to stop the Water Authority instead of Vernon Hartley listening to DeKeitha Stamps weeks ago when he told him to file a rate case to slow everything down. They finally went ahead and submitted an injunction request, and Judge Wingate heard that today. Out of nowhere, he decides to hear it at 2 p.m. A lot of us thought he was going to hear it the next day or later in the day. Mm-hmm. I believe that's a way to get it through very quickly, but why, we don't know. Now, in that hearing, we begged the community. You saw that post we put up where we said, call us, let us know if you're in there. Folks were in there. And from that, we heard that Wingate was very bothered by the state's takeover attempt. Now, you got to make sure you lock on to the reason he was bothered. He was bothered because he looked at it from what the folks were saying as an attempt to usurp his power.
Mm-hmm. His power.
Yeah, his power.
Not the Jackson power.
Not the power, the people's power over this system, but you still take a win and make it work for you people, okay? Now, my enemy's enemy is my friend, but understand his intention. Yeah, his intention is, and this is a man that left when the mayor was being arraigned, the previous mayor was being arraigned and the district attorney was being arraigned in one courtroom. This man left, Judge Wingate I'm talking about, left his courtroom, put on his long trench coat and his running sneakers as if he was a regular civilian and came up behind the courtroom just to sit and gloat at the previous mayor Lumumba being arraigned. And then told one of the older black men from the city of Jackson, you involved with this nonsense? This is when We Are Not Our Ancestors comes in. Right there, look up, that's Judge Wingate. We are not our ancestors is never an insult to our ancestors. It means we use the tokens they died for. So they died so we could stand up. And so that when Reagan appointed judges like this man above, who's a disgrace to my grandfather, to my grandmother, to my great-grandmother, to his great-grandmother, this is a disgrace to black men and women that were shot down and bled for us to have the right to vote, for a federal judge appointed by Reagan to not have enough courage to make the right decisions in spite of what it may cost him. You all just heard me talk about struggling in the field. And I'll tell you this, I doubt that I'll ever get hired in my field that I spent 25 years perfecting, from putting a headset on to working in every single department in the company so that I can have a job in this field everywhere I went. And I know that's not going to happen now by the responses. And I was one of the most sought after directors that existed in the United States when I would put in applications in my field, not saying anywhere else. So I understand, Judge Wingate, that it would hurt a little bit for you to stand on business that only affects us. But today he was very bothered that the state attempted to usurp his authority and go around him and take over the water. And at this point, I don't want to use words statistically, but you've got to feel like a $2 whore being fought over, Jackson. And once you get that feeling in you, that feeling of a $2 whore, as they talk about it, getting fought over, like you're just sitting there and they're fighting over whether you're worth $2 or $1. And that's got to bother you at a certain point. You got Wingate saying, hold on a second. I tell these Negroes what to do. Mm-hmm. I tell them when they're racist and when they're out of line. You got the water authority saying, this is what they said. Those Negroes don't know, I didn't say the word, they don't know how to handle their business, so we're going to take it, Judge. And if they can prove to, who the hell are you? You didn't do nothing great. You stole Jackson's money, which is how you got right in your city. But anyways, if they can prove to us, I'm going to prove to a caveman how to keep disease free. You've lost your damn mind, first off. That's the thought you have. And any black person like Vernon Hartley who says, we've got to prove, you realize you're trying, Vernon Hartley, this is retarded thinking. The definition of the word retarded. You're going to teach the people who taught you how to be violent, who taught you how to break every law that exists in Mississippi, who taught you how to be inhumane. You're going to show them you know how to be humane. Are you foolish? That's what Fannie Lou Hamer would say to you, Vernon Hartley. She would say, are you a fool? That's what Medgar Evers would say to you. I don't care who uses the last name and tells you. I can tell you because I live more of the lifestyle he lived than any of them. I'll say that hands down. I got no problem saying that. Medgar would have not. What are you talking about?
If you would have broke that shit down like that in front of everybody would have said something.
Everybody would have said something. Once somebody gives up their life for this cause, you lose them when you're a sucker. Understand that a lot of you all out here are suckers. That's the word we used to use, but a lot of y'all out here are just straight suckers. Like y'all are scary, y'all no backbone, y'all go around these white men that hold power and your knees shiver, little pea spots appear on your pants. I don't understand how you exist. And I'm in rooms with you all, watching you all. When I was with Jackson Water, you'd be amazed at the first black person the first person in the room. I'll be in there with MDEQ, the state, all these, you in an executive position. Guess who sometimes the first person to say something bad about Jackson would be? Some Negro from Madison. Next, it'll be your name. I'm a talk show host. I remember you. And a Negro with the beard from Jackson. That Negro thinks he's sliding low. Y'all got to look at these people still working with Jackson Water that look like you when they're getting paid out the wazoo and they have disappeared. How do you think they know how to cut water off in certain areas? How do you think they know who can't respond and where the poor people are and where to go where all the people don't have water and ain't paying their bills? Go sniff out some of them black people working there that weren't open to you. You never knew they worked there. Mm-hmm. When I left and I was fired, look at the people that were right there that still stayed within the center. Think of how many people would call you. You all would think everybody that worked in it would have called me when I left in here. But like, man, Tarek, even when you in here, you were training us yourself. You stood up. You tried to bring in more. You tried to get a difference.
Nope.
No.
Not one canoe.
Not one of those managerial people. Not one. One, Carla came in and kicked her out right away. This is what happens when you have people that allow themselves to be stepped on. Carla Dezette left the city making everybody in there cry. Y'all remember that when I came in, I did them interviews? And y'all told me one by one, remember the sisters that y'all was crying and said, Carla would come in here and put Republican mantras up on the wall and tell us we should vote better. And y'all were crying. Remember y'all told me she was out in the parking lot calling Cindy Hyde-Smith? Yeah, but then one of them, when they had a chance to get that money, that shmoney. I'm going to tell you that. Go see who still works at Jackson Water. Then compare them to my interviews. Go Google me when I was at Jackson Water. See who's standing next to me that's still there. I'm telling you, that money is amazing, boy. That money is amazing. You think, hey, you kept trying to, that money is amazing because you see what's going on. While you all can't find, this is what y'all are saying, that's when you call in. We can't find places to pay our bill. We getting hooked up. Well, how is some of you all's community still working there? I'll sip tea. How are folks from Jackson still working there, but they ain't raising the alarm? If what y'all telling me is true. I have my own personal experience with my water bill. Let's talk about you all's, because I'm here for you. So you all are calling in and telling me over and over again that you can't get through and you can't get no help, but you got cousins and sisters. Well, just go look at my interviews when I was down there trying to do water relief. Go look at folks there. If you don't know who worked there, it may be your cousin you ain't know that she worked there under me, and now she's still there, or was one of my managers, and now they're still there. And I can tell you right now, when I was done the way there wasn't no heads up on this, and that Will State, I found out the day I showed up. I let you know where people's priorities lay. I'm not one ever to, I don't want you to get her. But since I've left and since now, if you got a family member that's security for the KKK, and they keep hanging you, and that family member's not telling you it's coming, that's all I'm saying, bro. And they sleeping over your house every Thursday. Stop complaining about your bill.
God damn.
And y'all all remember me from the city. Y'all all remember me from the city. Even the police department that was right there. That's why I gave a shout out to my burger brother. He know who I'm talking to. When I had to run out there and beg you to let one of my people go because, shout out to my brother that I had to beg you to let go. Those are all my people. I love everybody there. But y'all remember me at the Metro Center. The humanities department. Y'all remember me walking through with my clicky clack in my suits asking, can we collaborate? Can we do this? Because you all were worth that. And what did that get us? Make it make sense, Jackson. When you real and you're pure, you don't go away. The work's the same no matter where it's at. Whether I'm helping train you up at Jackson Water and I'm helping train you how to take calls and how to talk to our residents and how to get to a service level of 80%, one of my happiest days when I was able to print that paper out and call them all in a room. And I met with them. They remember that. We had temps all from that's the pride in me. People say, what was your pride? My pride was hiring 20 call center reps from Jackson and teaching them myself how to take calls and the code of conduct and how to interact with each other. And does someone smell like marijuana? Let me pull you to the side and explain to you why this doesn't work. I went through that same situation. Let me explain to you. This is what you did wrong. This is how I want you to improve. This is when I'm going to check up with you. Then pull you back in the next day and sit down with you and not get bothered that you've never had this before. And you like, man, get out of my face. I understand it. We're going to work through this. And then a week later, you sitting up there helping other people and taking their calls over. No one shows you that part. That's why, Metro, you got to talk up sometimes. It's getting hairy now. You got to remember my security guard, brother, up at the front that told me, he was like, bro, you something different. I don't know how long you're going to make it. You were right. Shout out to you. I didn't know what you knew. I just thought I was doing something good. You and I love that brother, tall brother up front. Every time I came in Metro in the morning, he was sitting there. And that's the type of brother that motivated me. Them customers that would come into that front area and tell me how they was done wrong. Y'all remember I started walking through the front area when y'all were coming to open service. They were telling you can't do it because A, B, and C. I would come sit down next to the rep and say, well, hold on. Let's ask him for this. Let's ask him for that. Let's move through it this way. Let's make sure you're not being rude to them. That type of change, the spirits just didn't want that there. But you'd better start to do your homework. All I can do is move in and do the best job in my role. It is not my role to go around the city telling people what to do or what they should think. That's not my role. My role is to take the God-given talents that my grandmother right outside of here birthed into my father and then birthed into me where I was born and to bring it right back to where it got birthed from. Talent applied is all I'm here for. That's why I don't care about none of y'all's feelings, how you feel or what you say to me or how you look at me. Talent applied, pressure applied consistently produces results. You apply pressure till you stop breathing. That's where results come from. That's why Vernon Hartley was in the back of the People's Assembly. That's why Racist Foot, you made the racist comments, don't get mad at me, become unracist, was sitting in the back of the People's Assembly. That's why the guy from the NAACP was sitting in the back of the People's Assembly. That's why Kevin Parkinson was sitting in the back of the People's Assembly. And most of those names would never have been at a People's Assembly, a non-government people's meeting, right? That's for the people, by the people. They were all back there because they had to be, because they needed to know what you were thinking. Hartley went on his page. Now y'all we snapping the whip. Every time we talk, you do something, right? And we're going to tell you saw Hartley put up that on his page. First thing you do is say, I sent certified letters out. Now you're covering your you-know-what. You can't cover it forever because the truth can't be hidden. Flip side of this break, we're going to talk a little bit more about the hearing Judge Wingate had about the water, what took place there, and what that means for the city, Jackson. We'll be right back. Make it make sense.
The Mississippi Link is an African-American female-owned newspaper with a trusted voice that is highly respected throughout the city, state, and nation. Our motto, keepers of the knowledge for people who speak the truth, since 1993. Link significantly influences the thoughts, attitudes, and buying decisions of its readers. Call us at 601-368-8481 for your advertising needs. If you would like to receive a newspaper in the mail each week, our annual subscription is only $52 per year. That is only $1 per week for you to stay informed regarding many stories that you can only get in the Mississippi Link. Sign up today at themississippiLink.com and click on Home Delivery.
Socrates Garrett ENT.com is a diversified firm specializing in recycled aggregates and crushed concrete. Socrates Garrett ENT.com's recycled materials provide the construction industry with significant economic and environmental benefits by recycling clean concrete rubble into M.DOT grade rock materials. Recycled aggregates and crushed concrete can be applied to driveways, road construction, bank protection, parking lots, general bulk fills, and more. By using Socrates Garrett ENT.com's crushed concrete products, anyone from homeowners to general contractors can help reduce landfilled concrete waste, conserve natural resources, and gain significant economic savings on materials and disposal costs. For more information, please call 601-896-0084 or visit us online at SocratesGarrettENT.com.
And then right back out. Right back at you. Welcome back. I get to do the second half welcome. To make it make sense, Jackson, I'm your co-host, Tariq Abdul-Tawwab, along with my esteemed host,
Keandon Perry,
aka KP, aka Young Man. So when I say young man, you know that's who I'm talking to. I can't do my engineer joke anymore because we have a wonderful group here. We believe digital with the same youth, actually even younger. You'd be surprised at who's setting this all up. Back with my engineer. So yeah, he killed my youth jokes.
little short story about my name. My mom used to hate this when I used to do this because my name is very unique, right?
Yes,
so a lot of the times when she used to take me to doctor's appointments when I was a kid, and the doctor tried to pronounce my name, and they'll be like Keandon. I'd be like, yeah, that's the only name. I'm the only person in the world with that name. And she'd be like, well, of course I named you that. I'm like, well, shit, mama. You see why I like that name now? Because ain't too many people doing what I'm doing. I'm one of a kind.
That's right. Say this is named for a king.
Yeah,
she took the credit before. Now you can get in on a little bit of it too. Well, I'm not, Mama, you gave it to me, but I'm making it.
I'm making it why I like it like that. You see what I'm saying?
That's right, Mama. That's what he's supposed to do. That's the funny thing about a parent. My son would tell me, Daddy, I'm doing something great. I make you look. I'll be like, that's what you're supposed to do, son. That's just what you're supposed to do. So kudos. I hope she's listening today or watching. I know these podcasts are a little harder because people move around. They can jump on the radio, but shout out to your mother, man. I hope she's proud, man. She should be.
Yeah, she said she would.
Absolutely, I know she is. She should be. But it's see their moments of smiles. That's where I laugh. People are like, don't you have to smile sometimes? Those moments. The young man from JPS that got the highest score, I think, on the the PSA teaser. Those make me smile.
Oh yeah.
There was a young person from JPS that got $250,000 in scholarships. Those make me smile. So that way, I got plenty of smoke for the rest of y'all. And because some people wonder how I can stay. You be on this all the time? All the time. Sometimes I wake up mad. I just missed something. I could have got him yesterday. I saw something they did. I promise y'all. Just so you know, you have to go ahead and that upper room. That's where you got to send me to shut me up. And I don't want you to. I'm not stop saying that because my daughter's getting mad. But I just want to be real about it. So at least when you go all the way. Don't come up to me with the garbage. And a few of y'all do come up trying like I'm tough. You better stop. If you don't go on somewhere, man.
Oh no, man.
Yeah, I don't know what is wrong with people. And I get involved with it. It became the young man that pulled me away, telling me these are non-script people. Like, man, they non-script. They have absolutely no relevance in our city right now. But all of y'all are relevant to me. And you always will be. And he knows I'll still talk to you.
I learned that from you.
Yeah,
that pulling, you know what I'm saying?
You're right. I've had to do that to you a lot. And guess what? You've grown with it. So now it's reversed. You start with a young man who I've had to pull him back in situations and say, calm down. To now I'm moving through situations and he's telling me, actually, we were at the church, United Christ Methodist, and in the exact role reversal. You were like, man, let's just go. This don't work. And unfortunately, I didn't listen. So, we need to listen. Listen to our youth, right? What I'm trying to teach you, I'm going to show you. But yeah. Shout out to Mama and shout out to all the mothers. Shout out to, when I say shout out to Mom and I say shout out to KP, shout out to Henley. Shout out to what's the jail? Not what you call it, the one that Parchman. Shout out to Parchman, Tallahatchie. So I say that for a reason. I'm never going to shout out your child at St. Joseph and shout out your child or shout out Henley, right? Shout out Parchman. right? Shout out every prison. Them all our children. Only difference between Parchman and Tougaloo are opportunities. And if you at Tougaloo, you don't think it, you a fool. Come on, I'll put you in the university. I'll put you into another school and I'll see how you fare. The only difference between the majority of you at Howard, Tougaloo, Alcorn, Valley State, and Parchman, whether you're in Tallahatchie, whether you in Virginia jail, the only difference between the majority of you is opportunity and how many people helped you. Tariq's here to tell you that. So if you thought you were just that good, like these silly entertainers, they get on stage and say, how did you make it? I believed in myself. And shut your ass up. You didn't believe in yourself. You got to help. Why do y'all do that? Oh, well, listen, I pulled myself up by my bootstraps. How would you get boots if it was just you alone? Someone threw your silly ass boots. That's how you got to talk to these people. Like that, you got to talk to them like that. No, you didn't do it alone as a black person. So how could two things exist? You got an 80-year-old man really telling y'all, listen, young man, if you all just work hard, you don't shut your wrinkled prone face butt up. I don't disrespect any of my elders till you disrespect us. Exactly. Now you're a wrinkled print big face at. Now you're everything. Because you just told me that in your day, there wasn't a lick of opportunity. If we only knew how to grow up in your time, you couldn't breathe wrong. You couldn't even have a $10 bill in the store. So how in the hell could other black people have made it out? If everybody was in this bucket, then you went into the military and that's how you got your out. And now you looking down at the black people that never went to the military talking about something, them niggas just don't want it. Make it make sense. You siphoned out of a crab barrel. Got sucked out of it by someone that wanted to use you. See, that's the difference with me. They did the same thing to me when they saw it was talent. I just didn't let them use you because I'm that triple agent, quadruple agent stuff from the real men and I that true. You men now, Mayor Horn, City Council, you all have learned how to get over on your people. Vernon Hartley, you've learned how to talk slick and get over on your people. Stokes, you the king of it. You've learned how to get over on your people. I got the same game. All of you all have. I mean, actually much better. Only difference is I'm not going to use it to get over on my people. That's why your game is so empty to me and it's so clear and transparent. So when you look on Vernon Hartley's page and he was quiet about the Keitha Stamps coming on there, didn't say nothing about sending no certified letters to the Keitha Stamps, didn't even tell y'all the Keitha came on his show. These people are pissing in your mouth and telling you it's raining.
And he recently had
I apologize for that.
A live with Shamsuddin, Ali Shamsuddin.
He came on shit. See, this is what happened. This is how powerful the young man and I get to get. And I don't like doing this with me, but I know what it is. So now it's to the point where when we speak, when I say something, now you reach out to your friends and, hey, Shamsuddin, you got to get me on. Tariq just went off on me. This is really what's happening now. Probably call me Tyreek, I'm sure. Like they called Lamont. They don't want to say ethnic names correctly, right? They'll love to say, well, that's Brad. I love him. But it's Tariq or Tyreek, like the white folks say. They don't want to say his name correctly. What did they used to call him? What would they call him? Chokeway, like choking. They would call him chokeway, which is the way the white racist
Lion Lumumba.
Yeah. But the chokeway, like Jamal, like I can't say Jamal, I can't say nothing. Yeah. You know what I mean? I can't say Dante. What is that name, Dante? I can't say Dontavia. That you get what I'm trying to say? They did that type of thing. Chokeway. That you had black people, any black person that said chokeway and acted like they had never heard of an African name before. Where's this Negro from? Where's this Negro? And then they had on a suit too. Yeah. Oh, and that's cooning. That is what my grandfather would say. Rarely would use the N-word. Look at that nigga. And I would look up. I'd be sleeping. Oh, where? And I'll look over. And you know who I saw every time? Someone smiling up in a white man's face. And my grandfather was saying he's no Asian either. What he meant by that is he ain't smiling for us. We shucked and jived professionally. I saw a post online where these young Negroes had the nerve to say they were showing an older man from the South and how he was smiling at the white man when he came up. And as soon as the white man left, he stopped smiling and said, yeah, he owns the plantation. Then you had these foolish young people who ain't never been hit with a club a day in their life jump on there. Yeah, he need to stop shucking and jiving. And I had to explain to them, young man, that's how we survived. That's why your little silly self is here. Boy, you could get killed for pulling out a $50 bill and a poor white man be in the store with you. Are you stupid? Oh, but you don't know, you're ignorant because these coon black leaders have not passed the word down to you. Instead, they told you just dress up and get yourself in a private school and everything will be well. Once you get there, Justice, go ahead and just do it this way, do it that way, do it the same way your daddy did it or your mommy did it. We passed down these lines. That's what's killing us. Folks holding on to positions and then passing it down. Like the Republican mother and father who both resigned at the last minute so their sons could run for the position and get it. Right here in Mississippi. I forget the names. But this is this stuff that keeps us down. And then you clowns want to get up in the morning and we're going to cure you with this, if nothing else. When a mic gets in front of you and they say, what's the problem in Jackson? When people are starting to say to young people, they're going to look around first to see if I'm there or KP's there. We're going to make you that scared. Because every time we catch you saying this to these young people, we're going to whip that you know what. We're going to put your name out there, your position. We're going to talk so bad about you. And then we're going to let you, I'm going to read a number out after that. 601-960. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm about to read you Vernon Harley's number. You're going to be mad at me. Why they calling me? But listen, when I put you on a surgical table, I'm going to call you up. I'm going to give you our number that you come sit on the phone with me while I do it. So then excuse the rant, but it leads into what we're talking about. So before the break, we were talking about the pressure, right? Well, let's slow down and let's look at pressure applied. Yesterday, before this, so today we had the meeting, and we're talking about how it leads into it, right? Today, Judge Wingate called the meeting out of nowhere. And I won't say the meeting was planned, but it was not supposed to be today at 2. We all thought it was. He calls it after yesterday. What happened yesterday? We were on air. That's how we're going to start approaching it. If you want to know what this is about, go back and look at the show from yesterday. We go on air yesterday after beating the point all week. So first off, 4 weeks we've been beating the DeKeitha Stamps advice. We've been beating this into people's head. DeKeitha told them to do it. DeKeitha's Public Service Commission. DeKeitha's from Jackson. The case would have gone to DeKeitha. We will be able to see everything you're looking for. At the first Vernon and the city council pretend they don't see it, but he takes down the show. Yesterday, was it yesterday? Yes. Yesterday, a audience member on his show called in and asked him to please put the show back up. This is when I say y'all are powerful. We're powerful together. Don't let me keep. You called him and said, hey, put that show back up. He didn't deny the show. He said he'll try to find it. He didn't deny DeKeitha was on there and told him about the rape case. He said that he said he had a meeting with DeKeitha later. He changed that to say he bumped into DeKeitha on the street. Can I borrow $20 from each of y'all? I'm going to pay y'all when I die. Do you get what I'm saying? I can just tell you anything. I had a meeting. Negro, what is a meeting bumping into somebody that I've never mistakenly bumped into someone and told you I had a meeting with them. I bump into you at Piggly Wiggly and the next day I had a meeting with KP. No, I'm sorry, I'm just joking. I was on a bread aisle at Piggly Wiggly. Sir, that's a lie. You didn't forget you was at Piggly Wiggly's and you was in a meeting. In a meeting, you walk into the conference room, you sit down, it's on your calendar. So Harley tells us, yes, I was in a meeting. Hold on, is this thing recorded? I bumped into him. You did it, not me. You said it. I bumped into him. And after I bumped into him, I sent him some stamped letters, that proves I sent it. You know what I mean? You know how people hold up the newspaper with the date on there? This is me on Tuesday. I did it. This is what Vernon's doing in front of you all. This is a military man who thinks all he has to do is check the boxes. Military men don't think reason comes into it a lot of times. They don't look at reason sometimes. I'm sorry, military men that do. Some military people do not look at reason. Police officers, they don't. They think that as long as sir, the box right here, the person can be on the ground bleeding to death. Police officers, right? You can have a video of them. They'll yell, stop resisting. The person will be limp. But you don't hear me yelling, stop. I don't care what you're yelling. He's not moving. Well, I felt something. They'll just talk through it. And that's what Vernon Harley did to you all. So he came on yesterday and he said, let me tell you what I did after Tarek talked about me for 4 weeks, okay? Let me tell you what I did after I found out that you all knew about me. Let me tell you what I did once all of you knew. Now, before I did nothing, but once you knew about it, I sent DeKeitha a certified letter. What did that letter say? It said, can you please do everything the rape case would have given us? The rape case he told you to do? So Hartley basically was told by DeKeitha Stamps, do a rape case. It will make them put all of their business, Jackson Water, in front of you. Canton won their rape case based off of having all of the information exposed and then saying, no, they're just wasting their money. They don't need to raise the rates on us. So you realize Judge Wingate approved this increase saying it was needed to survive. They've got $750 million. And Judge Wingate approved this. There's a reason you got to approve it with. And the reason he approved with was necessary to survive.
Necessary to survive.
But they'll cut your water off immediately. And neither Judge Wingate finds you. He didn't order no water turnoffs coming back on. But it's necessary for Ted Hennepin for Jackson Water to get 20 million more of your dollars to survive. But you don't even need clean water to survive. Judge Wingate, make that make sense. You said that Hennepin and Jackson Water need to charge us $20 million a year to survive. But we don't need clean water to pay increased bills and $20 million more a month. You never once asked residents, how good is your water? And the city's lawyer, the woman that was representing the city in the first hearing, you should be disgusted with yourself. And I'm still trying to find out who your name is. And even though the city attorney stood up well under duress today, the fact he was in the room during that first hearing and didn't stand up is disgusting. Damn near sabotage. And I'm talking about when Judge Wingate said, tell me some of the things or the ways your constituents have been hurt through this water crisis with the bills going up and water cutoffs. So you know what this woman that represented you said? I don't know. Can't think of any. And Ponytail Peter sat right there.
Who would that be? Drew Martin?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I call him Ponytail Peter. I often get names incorrect. I was thinking about Terwoosin, and I was mixing them up. Terwoosin has the opposite of a ponytail. And brother, I'm not talking about you. Look at me. But yeah, Drew Martin at that time. Now I heard he fared very well today. We're going to touch on that. But at that first hearing, he just sat there. And I approached him. Drew, you and I talked afterwards, and I told you what I felt. I don't do any of that talking about you behind your back. Drew, can I talk to you, sir? Who was that? I know she didn't represent the city. This was the interaction Drew and I had outside the courtroom. I know she didn't represent the city. Oh, well, yeah. Well, hold on. No, yeah, but so she just said she doesn't know how we've been hurt by cutoffs and by everything that's happening? Well, yeah, no. You need to understand. I'm going to let the people know she did that. And what I would suggest you do, this is how I talk to everybody. What I suggest you do is go have a stern conversation with her as our lead attorney and make sure she knows that's not acceptable. And what I wanted to say, but I wanted him to keep his chin up because he still had to defend us. I didn't want to cut him to. I wanted to tell him that's horrible on your part. It's unacceptable for you to be there as a lawyer. That's like me sitting in the room and I know something. I'm going to yell out. Boy, I'll throw wet paper at the judge before I let somebody say my people ain't been hurt. That's the whole basis of the case.
What meeting was this again?
This was the first time they tried to. Oh, you would do that to me. What was that? We were both there.
Damn it.
What was that for the increase?
Was that the court? No,
that was over the water. We showed up and it was over the. It was one of the two, but it was talking about the water. It wasn't the water authority yet, so it was the increase.
Yeah,
it was the increase.
At the city council.
It was either increase or I was talking about the interveners. It could have been the intervener. It was the interveners case when the Mississippi Rapid Response Coalition's lawyers had shown up to try to argue on behalf of the interveners. With their goal, and correct me if I'm wrong, was to push the Judge Wingate to make a decision.
Mm-hmm.
This is supposed to be a temporary takeover of our water system, right? So now push it past this. And so when you push it past that, judge, then it either stays under third-party management for longer. So the judge looks and says Hennepin needs to stay longer, or it comes back to the city, period. And Jackson, that's all you'd better accept. That's why we're telling the city council to release. That's it. You got $750 million left. Ted Hennepin comes from a water system. He had all these priorities he's supposed to hit. Go onto that website. Go look at those 13 priorities. That's all our city council should be working us towards. Some folks are full of crap. What our city council should do is have those 13 priorities up on every single one of their walls. And they should be check marking when he finishes or pressuring the hell out of him as to why it's not done. Let me tell you something. City council knows as long as those are undone, he's not going nowhere because the judge told him he had to do those. These are people playing with you. They're playing with you. And they don't even know the bare stuff. Vernon Hartley said, I've got to figure out what the PSC does. What's the tenderism dude? I wish I had some glasses to throw. Start throwing stuff around here. I'm sorry, y'all. I think that, bro. I apologize. Stuff like that never works when I do it. It hit the ground, it's water squirting out. I'm around electrical equipment. I'm sorry, engineer. But that's how he just says it to you. And now were they in court today? Now I've asked some of you all to reach out to us, and I'm waiting on responses. And I don't know. I know our engineer went by there. Was Vernon Hartley in court today? Was Tasha, was she in court today? Was Kevin Parkinson in court today? He doesn't look like he shows up to everything. Was Kevin in court today? Was Ashby Foote? I know he wasn't. Was Ashby in court today? Was Stokes in court today? Was Grizel in court today? I told y'all about that at 10 in the morning. My engineer team sent that to me at 8 something. The young man was researching it at 9:30. Was your city council at that hearing today? But I bet what Vernon Hartley did do on here, and understand, the reason we keep using Hartley is the one that Keitha Stamps told the information to. So if Hartley told it to the city council, that's on all of them why they didn't respond. Now, if any of the city council watches this show, that's on all of them why they didn't respond. So now you're trying to cover your butt. So first you say you're going to do 2 certified letters. Weeks after Keitha said it. Then you say, Now I posted something on my website about what I'm doing to stop the price. It's too late, Vernon. And for anyone thinking about suing the city or suing him on behalf of that or any of these counselors, don't believe that. None of the stuff he's putting up matters. It's too late. And today in court, from what I understand, there was very minimal representation outside of Drew Martin standing up and fighting and Judge Wingate saying he doesn't like that the state, and this is for you older folks. I got a little bit of time. I got to wrap it down, so I'm going to talk to you directly here. This is for you older folks, 60 to 75, who think if someone made it to a judge, you respect that. Judge Wingate was just mad because the state was trying to take power away from him, not because they were trying to take power from you. So even though my enemy's enemy is my friend, we're going to ride Judge Wingate. I hope he keeps going like he went. Drew Martin, you go harder next time. Please understand why the judge is mad. Not because he wants black people to be free and to be autonomous, but because he wants his own ego to be stroked like Horn and others are doing. So
how dare you disrespect the black token?
The black token, absolutely. How dare? Don't you know they gave me an award for being the first black coon, the first black judge of a certain level in this state, and that's what he was.
Ronald Reagan will be turning over in his grave right now.
Yeah, I mean, Ronald Reagan will be turning over if he knew. Well, Dr. King is turning over in his grave, looking at you, Judge Wingate. It's disgusting. We're gonna land this plane, but we'll be right back here tomorrow, 5:30. We Believe Digital. Don't forget Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, 90.1, 4 o'clock. Thursdays and Fridays, 5:30 to 6:30. Jump on our Facebook page, Make It Make Sense, Jackson JXN. We've got a lot more to tell you. Pineywood, we jumped on Pineywood last time. You remember I got bothered because I said 99% of your students are coming from a different country. Only 1% are coming from here. And this is Pineywood was created for ancestors of chattel slavery. That's what it was created for. Now you just see 2 students got detained and then deported by ICE, 2 African students, because they were supposed to be at Pineywood. What's going on, Pineywood? This is the same Pineywood whose president comes from Obama's administration and took his children to the Dixie parade. I personally went to the school and said, man, I'll pay for them to go do paintball or something. Don't send them there. Crossley looked me dead in my eye and said, yeah, I'm gonna send them there. This is what happens when you get so high up, you with Obama, you in the White House. You come back to Mississippi and think it's okay to take your children to a Dixie parade. Now you got African kids supposed to be at your school getting deported from other schools. What the hell is going on, Pineywood? I told you when I said that president and his wife was over there treating that like their private playground, them epi-steppy files popped up, but you all were too cocky. And when I told you to calm down and stop doing these things, you said you came from Obama's presidency. You'll do what you want. We're seeing some things happen, you all. Don't miss tomorrow's show. It's going to be out of control. 5:30, We Believe Digital. For my co-host,
Keanu Perry.
I'm Tariq Abdul-Tawwab. We love you, Jackson. Continue to make it make sense. We out.